thinking just the four of us, because maybe I'll go through quicker then, so it's not too much blah blah, and we can have more interaction.
No, I think so that we have Thomas and Joseph joining. We have definitely a couple more participants coming in. Hey, Thomas.
I always feel like a little awkward, like presenting with like three people. I think you could just chat, you know.
No, we'll do a little bit of an introduction, and then you can jump into your topic. And I know that Anna also wants to present something, so we have to be a little bit conscious of time. And I'll try to keep us well paced.
Should I try to shut up by like 20 past? Would that be the goal?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, giving Anna maybe 10 minutes or so, quarter an hour to present her topic. And I really would love to hear also from Roland and Joseph. If Joseph, you're on the line as well, I can see you muted, but I think you're here.
I don't see Joseph on the list. Okay.
Yes, we can see you. Fantastic. Welcome everybody. It's so good to put you here. So we're basically live, and this session is being recorded, and a couple of people might join. But I suggest that we just go ahead and everyone takes a quick few seconds to introduce yourself, and maybe just I would suggest just you name the last emoji that you used in whatever chats or communications programs you're using. Like, just take a second right now and just open up your phone and see what is the last emoji that comes up on that emoji keyboard. I just love to do a fun little crowdsourcing right now. So in my case, I will get the ball rolling, and it is, wow, I don't even know how it's called, but it's this emoji which looks like it's this Japanese, Chinese, like a ball with a string attached. Wait a second. Here, can you see it in my chat with Debra here? Anyone know what that is? It's like a wind chime or something. It's like a ball with little flowers on with a little piece of paper attached, something Asian. I'll put it into the chat. That way there's no confusion about that. So anyway, I'm Oleg. I am the organizer of many hackathon events. I'm also an extremely eager participant in hackathons. I develop hackathon software, and I am here to welcome you all to this wonderful meeting of hackathon organizers. And I'll pass the ball over to Debra to say hello.
Hi, my name is Debra. My most recent emoji was a thumbs up to my rock climbing partner because we found a date to climb together. And who am I? I'm a docent and professor in social policy, in social work at the v.5. And I'm here because I'm doing a project with Oleg that I'm going to talk about lots later. So I won't say too much more. I pass to Anna.
Thanks, Debra. Hi, everyone. It's nice to get to know you. I work at opendata.ch. I joined rather recently. We figured out just before you guys joined that it's only been 3 months, even though it feels a bit longer, which in a good way, not in a bad way. I'm mostly in charge of the GLAM projects that we have at Open Data, and a big part of my work are also hackathons. So I'm very curious and eager to start this conversation with all of you. And I pass on to Thomas.
Just put your emoji into the chat if you forget.
Hey guys, so first of all, thanks for introducing me to another video call software. So Oleg, this one is really, really easy to get along with. Just wanted to say that. So I'm getting a lot of these emojis recently. I actually send them and get them a lot. We just recently had a hackathon, which is called the Sports Hack Days. Oleg, thanks for joining us there and being a great hacker and coach and supporter. Yeah, good to see that. So thanks a lot for that. So yeah, we had an amazing 2 days. I work in the field of sports data analytics. I'm in the founding stage of my own company with others, and the Hack Days, I would say, are an integral part of, the educational efforts that we're doing in sports, and of course the matchmaking efforts between, innovation at universities, the technological opportunities that are around, and the very legacy, old-fashioned kind of industry, which is the sports industry. So that was a success, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say today, and also chat a little bit about, you know, how everything could get on a bigger stage when it comes to hackathons as well. And I have to say hi from Marina. Marina, she works at MCH Group. They are the ones organizing the Hack Zurich. So pretty much our big brother, I would say, these days, but they are on hold, and they are very much looking forward to bringing this concept back on active again, maybe with you guys or not, but they're super interested in getting to know you, but it just didn't work out for her today. So hi from Marina. Oh, I have to pass on. Anna, you're up next.
You already did.
Oh, Anna. No, seriously, sorry, I'm struggling a little bit with it. So Joseph, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Joseph Gum. I'm in San Diego, and maybe you can see the beautiful view of the beach out of my office. I work for the National Science Foundation National Center of Atmospheric Research here in the US, and the last emoji I sent was a crying face. I don't think I need to explain this to any of you, but a lot of the emojis I've been sending in the last 2 days have not been particularly happy. But I also do a lot of scientific, educational workforce development hackathons. I am the current chair of the organizing committee for Hack the Hackathon Volume 4, which will be held here in San Diego. Unfortunately, our funding sources being from the federal government meant that we couldn't support anybody from outside the US, but we still have space for virtual attendance. And I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting all of you in person for the first time or again next year. I've heard a little bird saying that it might be in Copenhagen next year. And I'll pass it to Roland.
Hi, the last emoji I used was plain old thumbs up too, for a bug I confirmed to take care of. It was my bug, so I need to look at it. I'm a software developer, that's why I keep chasing bugs, and I'm one of the co-organizers of Basel Hack, which just took part this weekend, the last weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are in the call? I think the 6.
Yeah, that's everyone.
Whole.
Yeah. So I think we can. No, we have someone else joining. Jörg. Last but not least, my good friend.
The link, dude. I found the link. I checked the notes and I found it because yes, finally.
All right. There is a bit of a scavenger hunt involved in these.
Yes.
We're just at the end of the round. Everyone's said a couple of words about themselves and mentioned the last emoji used in some conversation or context. So please, just a few words about yourself and one emoji.
One emoji. I didn't understand the last one. Thank you. I'm at the University of Applied Sciences in the meantime, and I didn't leave the building, and so there might be some noise around. My name is Jörg Berkel. I'm mostly a system engineer and facilitator, doing lots of Linux stuff, and I'm the man who drives the XM environment LernStick forward. We have an XM environment to boot a Linux system from stick. And yes, I'm doing lots of interesting stuff and like hackathons and working together with people. And one emoji is like the thumbs up to seeing you and see that there are people interested in in exchange, collaboration, and interdisciplinary is a big point, because in all my career before I worked at the University of Teacher Education, mostly like in the media field, and now I do more computer science stuff again for my for my heart, which I always liked open source software and stuff. And so I'm glad to always to learn each day new stuff in user interfaces, in communicating with people, so this is fun, like interdisciplinary working. And so I guess that's the real place I need to be with you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out some way of inserting an ASCII art thumbs up into the chat for you, Jörg. In the meantime, I suggest that Debra, we get started with the presentation slides you've got up. Tell us, please, about HackIntegration.
Okay, I think Jörg might know about it. People in his lab worked on the website for me, so he probably knows.
That's it.
Yeah,
I'm in the same team with the people who did like the user interface and did the single page application stuff, and yes.
Everything comes in a full loop. So now you'll get to learn a little bit more about the project. At the beginning, I felt like it was just about the website, but it's about a lot more. So this is a project that brings together kind of a lot of crazy stuff. I was introduced to hackathons by Oleg, and I helped organize the Hack for Social Good, just a hackathon. And I've had many years of experience working in labor market integration research. And I've also done a little bit of research on in economics on matching, some simulation work with matching. And weirdly, this experience sort of all came together in this new Swiss research project that we have. It's called, very long, Hackathons Bringing High-Skill Refugees and Jobs Together Through Diverse Hackathon Teams. Shorter, we're calling it HackIntegration for now. It's like this huge collaboration with a weird mix of people, Oleg and Open Data on one side, and then on the other side, then University of Zurich is an academic partner, 2 labor market integration programs, most of you probably know Power Coders, maybe also Capacity in Zurich, and SEM, the Department for Migration in Bern. So there's 2 kind of, Oleg always gets upset every time I present it as like 2 separate streams of the project, but there's 2 separate streams of the project, and I'm going to talk more about one here in this presentation, but I wanted to mention the other piece. The other piece is that we're looking to use hackathons to help high-skill refugees integrate into the labor market. So I guess you probably all know that like high-skilled refugees don't get jobs in their area, even if their qualifications are recognized, they don't get jobs in their area. It's a lot about discrimination, not thinking qualifications are as good. And after I experienced a hackathon, I was like, wow, this is so cool. You can like show what you can do. And it seemed to me like this is much better than a lot of the frankly bullshit labor market integration programs that I've been studying for 20 years, which are about just like resume writing. So that's like the social work side of the project. The part of the project that I was going to talk about here is about teens' inclusion and diversity. So I was made aware, and I'll explain that in the next 2 slides, about some of the problems we had in our own hackathon, and I started to hear from other hackathon organizers about getting teen balance and sorting right. I'll talk about 2 problems with that in the next slide. And then I was like, okay, I started to look at I could find very few suggested matching, and what I could find ignored preferences and had things that I learned about in my economics training that were like very typical problems seen in matching. Stuff what we call unraveling, like rushing to rematch in the last minute. Something that we call lacking stability in matches. It's when people, like when you have 2 pairs that would rather be together than with their match 2. If you want to switch, that's called like unstable. Anyways, it was like kind of like a test case for what you learn at the university of like a bad match. And I was like, okay, I can learn everything we use at the university to make a good match. So we thought, well, maybe hackathons would be a cool place, a new application for these kinds of matching algorithms. This class of matching algorithms is called deferred acceptance. And while I was writing the grant, I was pretty intrigued that economics and computer science have pretty distinct views of what is matching. They use the same term for very different things. And I'll explain what this is, but if you're from a computer science background, it's probably a little different. And in this algorithm, we want to look at individuals' preferences and skills and take into consideration team size and skill needs. And then we thought, okay, we can test this at some events and look, are people more satisfied with working with their team? Do people listen to each other? Are they more like equal in terms of the skill? Do they produce better? There's all sorts of different outcomes you could look at, right? And of course, on the other high-skill labor market integration side, we'll look if people improve their professional networks, get jobs, have higher incomes, etc. That is the labor market integration, which I'll skip in the interest of time. The website that your group made for us, HackIntegration Seha, has 2 interactive pieces. Maybe I shouldn't show it. The slides are going. You can go yourself. There's 2 different pieces. One is if you click on this button, Hack Finder, right here, then you get a list of hackathons. You can add your own hackathon, and all the hackathons are plotted on a map. So you can choose like where to go, hover over, get more information about it. And it's like a general tool to find a hack to participate in. The main goal of that for right now is for us to have the refugees have a central place to go to where they can choose events. In the long run, we would like it to stand alone and just be available to the community. And it's a question right now of like where it'll go and stuff. The other interactive piece of the website is this tab called registration. And that's where refugees can go ahead and choose an event they want to go to, agree to us linking their data, and then they can prove that they've registered and done everything, and then we send them 20 franc, and we give them a survey later, and we see what happens. Okay, so the part I'm here to talk about a few things. In the end, I'll have a slide like what I want from you, why I asked Oleg to let me present. One is to have people, of course, use the Hack Finder to post events, give me information about events, and want to continue using it. Also to do user testing, because right now we're still improving the website. The other piece about this matching is I wanted to give the example, the hackathon I organized. It was my first hackathon, a hack for social good. Now it's an annual event. And we had things like a 2-person team and a 14-person team, and a team that had like no programmers, and then a team with like no social worker, which is important for us at our event to have this kind of balance. And I know that Oleg and a lot of people I talk to are like, it's so important, the dynamic, who you like, it's about yourself being self-driven. But like when I assigned colleagues for bureaucratic reasons to a team, they had fun and really like engaged in what I assigned them to. So I was like, okay, there's maybe some room for suggesting something here. Then I mentioned to Oleg, hey, maybe we could do some kind of team suggestion thing. And Oleg was like, hey, we did that. And he let me look at his code, at their code, not his code, their code from the Versus Virus online event, where they used a matching algorithm like out of dire need, I guess, because it was such a big event. And it was kind of like in the economics literature, you would expect it to turn out badly. It was like, I re-looked at it today, and they started like the code was like, this is only for the English and the German speakers. The other teams went a little bit differently, but they would randomly select individuals, test if the relevant skill was in the team. They would assign if they needed that skill, and then they would repeat. And when all teams were filled, they would seed a new team based on one person having that topic of interest. So it's kind of like preferences came in, but very slightly and more in the seeding than in the sorting, if that makes sense. And then this was like kind of very typical for stuff you read about in the economics matching literature. There was no question about team building, but 10% of their participants left a comment about it, which I feel like is huge. If you're not like, if 10% of people just choose to talk about something, maybe like 30% were thinking about it. You didn't even ask about it. And the comments were things like, the team matching process was a bit Kafkaesque. We lost a whole day to figure out who was on the team. The team wasn't motivated for the challenges. Then we had to build another team. We decided on a new one. So people were kind of unhappy about it. And so then I said to Oleg, well, let's do it this way. Let's use matching algorithms from economics. These have been applied in lots of applied settings. They've been applied in a lot of settings to date. They're used when there's no price-based market, so you don't want to like auction off a seat in a challenge team. You use it when there's a possibility of a centralized clearinghouse, which we have here when people register for an event. As an organizer, you have a clearinghouse, so to say. And this is the trickiest part. You use it when there's preferences. And that's tricky because I think people have preferences going into an event, but it changes if somebody's like inspiring or whatever, right? It's a little bit dynamic. Where it's used so far is there's organ donor recipient matching residents to hospitals, students to dorms, or my nephew was recently matched to his high school in New York City using this kind of algorithm. And I have a picture of somebody from Iran. In Iran is the only country in the world where you can sell a kidney, which is not great. And a link in the slides, Oleg will distribute the slides later, to more information on the Nobel Prize in 2012 was about these kinds of methods. We're not in like an economics class. I didn't want to go too much into it, but I thought I'd quickly explain how the algorithm works because it's pretty different than the computer science approach. It's like the first paper that proposed this was in like 1950s or 60s, and they were thinking about dating, and it was just a theory paper at the time. And they were looking for a stable match. So where couples come together and like no boy and girl are in a different pair who'd rather be together. That was like the goal of the paper. Each man and woman has strict preferences. And in this algorithm, males offer and females can temporarily accept. So what that means is like, let's say I have a list, and my list is Thomas, Josef, Roland, yeah? And Roland's first choice is Anna or something, and he'll make an offer to Anna, and she doesn't have anyone, so she'll say yes for now, but just temporarily, right? That's why it's called deferred acceptance. Then the next person in the list of people is Joseph, and his favorite one is Anna too. So now he comes and makes an offer to Anna. She says, oh, he's higher on my list. So now she dumps Roland and she takes Joseph as an offer. Yeah, so that's how it goes. The girls they always will take someone to have someone, but if a better offer comes along, they get rid of the lost offer. And the men can go through, and now that Roland lost Anna, then he'd say, oh, Debra, you're my second choice. I'll make you an offer. And in a computer program, it's easy because you just like loop through, of course, the men, and then you do the, oh, yeah, you see. What's cool about this algorithm is that there's many different stable solutions. You find one of those stable solutions. What's interesting is that it's male optimal. So the side that makes the offers on the market is the side with the highest utility. Yeah. So this is important for the hackathon application. What's cool also about it is that in empirical applications, there's no unraveling. People are generally satisfied and nobody tries to match outside of it. So it's not like you set up your hackathons teams and then everyone runs and is like, this team is crap, I want to reorganize, right? What's also nice is that it's mostly strategy resistant. So you can't get a better match by faking it and saying like, oh, really, I like this one better than that one. You know, there's other matching approaches that aren't like that. You can be tricked. We're talking not about a one-to-one match, but a many-to-one match. I want to move forward, but I want to just say that a many-to-one match has the same properties where one side offers and the other side temporarily holds an offer until offers stop being made. But what's different is that a truncation strategy can improve a match quality. Yeah, so there's the room for strategy. But as the pools get bigger, the potential for strategy declines. Yeah. So mostly it works, but not as well as the one-to-one. And there's cases of this, and yeah, so I want to propose to do that. So what do I propose to do exactly? So when you set up the event, you have a certain number. Okay, that's not quite true. At our event, we have a certain number of challenges. There's other events that have flows and self-proposed challenges and so on. But let's go with the kind of event where you have a certain number of themes or topics, yeah? For each topic, you have a team size, minimum and maximum, and you have the relevant skills that you might need in that group to work together. Then you have a whole list of people. Those people each have a list of the things I'm interested in. It could be a ranked list or an unranked list, and I'm interested in maybe actually looking at the algorithm with ranked and unranked. Those people also have skills, and they can have multiple skills. And because you want to optimize participant experience, not your challenge offer experience, we would have the people be the offering side. So if I'm really interested in, I don't know, one challenge, maybe how to make a better match unit on Oleg's website or something, then I would put that as my number one. I would offer it. They would look, are my skills relevant? And they would accept it as long as there was space for that person and that skill. They would just like Anna with the rejection if someone better comes along, if their team is full and a new offer comes and it's for a skill that's underrepresented or not at all represented in the team, then the algorithm would dump the last prior acceptance. And this offer process loops through until it stabilizes, and then there's no new offers. And then the idea is then we would inform participants of the suggested team before the event, and then they could do whatever they want. It's just like a light nudge, you know, maybe in an email, maybe when they log onto the platform. Did you think about working on this? And the hope is that if we test something like this, maybe we won't have a 2-person team or a team with no software developers or whatever. Then we have to measure, like, did it work? Because that's like not known at the end of the event. And we have 2 sources of information. We're going to have a survey, and there we'll ask about participant background, offense, satisfaction, team experience, and personal benefits. And then there's what Oleg can scrape from his website if it's an event hosted by DribJat. And in that case, we have things like team uploads or team switching or the time until the last member joined the team. And we wanted to keep it anonymous but linkable, so I was going to ask for the handle people used in the survey. Yeah, what did you use at the event for your handle, if they remember, hopefully. Where we are in the project is we have mostly the website done, and we've been sort of testing it. I'm working on recruiting events. That's partially through you guys. I'm also working on recruiting events that want to try it. We have 3 already, which I'm surprised because I didn't even start recruiting yet. And we're also looking for feedback on the post-event survey and also willingness to use it. I think it's very attractive to have a pooled data set using consistent questions across many events, not just for my own research, but for other people who are running events to improve their events, you know? So if you can anonymize them and pool those, then it's kind of sexy for everyone. We can all share access to the data. And so I have a draft of a questionnaire to try to make it kind of easy for people, what I think should be in there, but I'm very open to edits. And so I don't know if I post it here, or get to Oleg or on the DribJat website or whatever, but that's something I'll share, and I would be happy, yeah, also for feedback on that and willingness to use it and for all of us to pool our data. So I've kind of said everything, but here's like the summary. My offer is publish your event in HackFinder. Do you want to try a team suggestion? Or you could be we thought about doing a random control group or just using unregistered events as a control group if you want to use a random suggestion. Our offer is this pre-made standardized event evaluation instrument that we're open to edits. And my other offer is hopefully at the close, pooled anonymized cross-event data to inform future event improvements. What I want and why I'm here is I want you to come to me and list your event. I want user feedback on the website. Did you add your event? Was it difficult? What can we change? I want your event to maybe think about using our team suggestion or be willing to be a control group. Feedback on the survey and using the survey after your event. And that's pretty much it. I put my information here so you could find me. Did I make it in time? Oh, I'm perfect. I was shooting for 1/2 That was really good.
You get the champion medal from me for being exactly on time. Thank you, Debra, so much. I think we should definitely take a few questions and get some discussion going. I would also want to give some time to Anna and Roland to say a few things. But I'll just take the opportunity to thank you, Debra, for getting the ball rolling here. First of all, recognizing the work that people have done, during the pandemic and through a lot of these hackathon communities to try to create a safe space, and just this idea that we've been developing of kind of like hackathons for everyone, I think is really important. Doesn't get enough attention. You brought it up to a very high level, to a national scientific project level, which I hope is the sign of things to come. You mentioned one thing I think that's kind of, I think really important to just reiterate. You said that as pools get bigger, the potential for strategy declines. Mm-hmm. What do you exactly mean by potential? Like potential to build fair teams, or just the potential to
had this in my academic slide, but I cut it out because I figured it wasn't like I'm teaching right now. But you can see with this example, we came to one stable solution where everybody, like A offers first, number 3 and is that right? Yeah, A offers first number 3, then B offers number 2, C offers 1, etc. But if one group, one of the hospitals truncates their list and says, like, I would only take people A and B, and I definitely reject person C, they can get, you can come to a stable solution that is better for this is hospital 1. It's possible, but that's only in an example here where 4 people and 3 hospitals, you know, and as you move to a pool of hundreds of people and 20 hospitals or something, then truncating lists doesn't work.
So you're basically kind of reflecting on the optimal team size. So sometimes hackathons have guidelines around what is the size of the team, and just having that right balance between the team size and the number of challenges. That's what affects the pools. You're not saying that bigger hackathons per se have less potential for strategy, right?
No, I think that what I was actually more trying to say is that in academic theory, it can be scammed, but once you get to the size of an actual event, it can't be scammed, because no event is going to be small enough that you can have this kind of strategy. That's what I was kind of trying to say. I was trying to say in theoretical terms, yeah, it's suboptimal, but in practical terms, for this context, it's okay.
Gotcha. Does anyone have questions for Debra?
Would you be interested?
Some question and a comment. So for the survey, I'd be really interested to have a look, because it's one topic that I'm looking into currently to improve on our side. So I would be very interested to see if we can bring it together. So that would be really cool. Because also many times our events, it's nice to compare to other events and more events, because we have quite a few hackathons, but still it's always nice to make it bigger. So that's very cool. Just a very practical question, how it would work with the team matching. So it would require kind of the challenges to say we need like 5 to 10 people, and 2 of them should have X skill, etc. And then the participants would also already have to have a kind of pre-filled profile of what they can bring, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. So I've had it in mind. We're working on programming together, Oleg and I, on the 4th. We've already made the key to make it work is that this list of skills has to be, or would work better if it's something that's similar across all events. And so we were trying to make a topology that will always work. And I feel like we're almost there. We had a meeting with someone recently who had almost the same typology for happenstance. And we were like, okay, the thing that was tricky, there's certain things that always come up, like data, IT, software skills, design, and business. And then there's all sorts of specific things, like at our event, we need social workers. But usually I found that we can label that as like professional event specific. And that's a general enough label that it could work. I had in mind it could be programmed 2 different ways. You could program at least 1 person with each of the following skills, or one could make slots per skill. One could think of designing different criteria. We just have to make it consistent so that it can, you can upload and auto run and not adjust, right? But yeah.
And I'd just like to maybe note here that there's a very much an open data topic here. The v.5, the Swiss kind of office, States for Education, Research, Innovation, they have a platform called recognition.swiss, where kind of like they help people from other countries come into Switzerland and get equivalence diplomas and so on. And there's like a database of all the kind of skills and talents that you could possibly have across the entire world of work, right? And if you think about hackathons, we have these kind of very generic skill sets, but there's a much more complex reality that we're kind of reflecting.
And by definition, it has to be very broad, and no one will be satisfied with it to meet that ends in some sense. Yeah, it will just have to be relatively broad. Work.
So maybe like Roland, you literally just ran an event last weekend. What do you think? You're going to sign up Basel Hack next year to take part in this, or what would you say your team building issues were?
It sounds really interesting, and I have one question about preformed teams. I mean, we keep having this, I would call it phenomenon, because it's not really that we think it's good or bad or one of the two, but some teams are preformed and they really know that they will be a team on the hackathon. And how would your algorithm handle this? Does it even have to handle it, or is it, I mean, a formed team is already done and you just have to take care of the others? I think you're on mute, Debra. And you seem to be already answering.
I was saying that Oleg and I have already talked about this, and sort of my approach, we have a working paper that we wrote together where there's like some pseudo code of how we would go about it. And I formed the teams that are like the self-formed teams as separate and didn't put them in the pool. This is very different than when you look at the versus virus code. What they did is they said all teams should be 10 people, and they took smaller than 10 teams and randomly assigned people from the pool to that team. But my personal, I mean, I'm open to different ideas to dealing with it, but I had in my head that we're just going to pull them out and not let them run through.
There was a
maybe
question. Go ahead.
One thing I can share for from an innovation we tried at the past PASLAC is we pre-formed team pools. Like you could show bookmark a challenge, but that was not exactly the team joining yet. But we had a first idea of which challenges are more interesting and need more teams, and we could still like assign tables to them and had a rough idea how many teams are there going to be, and the team joining was then a different thing than the bookmarking.
Yes, so that would be like for us, just people ranking or listing the teams that they're interested in before. But then on top of that, we come with a suggestion. So it's like the same thing as you're doing with an intermediary, so clearinghouse step, kind of.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
How was your experience with that? Sorry. Sorry, I was just curious to ask Roland how the experience was with the bookmarking. Did people appreciate it? Was there anything you learned from it specifically?
We still have to wait for the feedback to drop in. We had an online form and still waiting for answers. But what we experienced from a logistical perspective was that well, it went much smoother this year than last year when we had a physical team building. And I mean the solution was similar to what you can do on DripDat to that you can immediately swap a team and it's digital. And I think this is really important to have like an immediate digital representation of the team. So the unraveling that may occur doesn't occur from administrative reasons, because you decided I want to join these people, and half an hour later a helper of the hackathon tells you no, they are already full, sorry, because the communication is just slow because it's on paper. So digital processes are really important, because you always have a source of truth, what's already decided.
So just in the interest of time, it's 20 to 6, and we can go a little bit over time, but I really want to make sure that Anna gets a chance to speak about her thing. And Roland, you've already started talking about BaselPack, but basically I want to make sure that you both have enough floor time to present some ideas. And Anna, would you like to share your screen? Take over from Debra, or just talk?
I'm actually just gonna talk. I feel terrible after this professional presentation from Debra to just babble about them. It's really more, I wanted to use the chance to have other hack organizers to really share experiences, and it's on a very like practical level. So having the little experience from a few hackathons that I have now, some issues that I see and that I'm really curious to hear whether you experience the same and whether you have solutions for them is, first of all, we have huge no-show rates. Like all our hackathons are for free, so it's very easy to sign up and decide a day beforehand, well, okay, I have other stuff to do. But I was really curious whether you have similar experiences, if you have developed some strategies that work to make people up, or at least tell us that they're not coming. That would already be cool. So that's one thing. And the other is just in terms of participant management, more on a tool level. We are currently using Hitobito for like as a CRM, and it works. But I was just also curious to hear if you have anything that you use that you're really like, this is awesome. If you can change, you should go for it. It's really, I really wanted to use this platform to have a very open exchange and just make use of your brains and experiences to hear if I can get some idea for our hackathons as well.
So Anna, I mean, that's probably when I can jump in. I mean, first of all, Debra, thanks for the input. I was quiet because I was quite astonished what one could do in terms of matchmaking. And I would love to hear more about this. But Anna, coming back to your questions, I mean, we recently had our first, I would say, outside of university hackathon. So we made it a private thing, sort of, where it used to be we had 2 or 3 editions where it was organized through the university. So mostly students got some ECTS points, which made things way easier when it comes to no-show. And we also took them by the hands way earlier. And this time we just basically advertised it within the skill set that we were looking for, mainly sports, but sports data science, including computer science, sports management. And we had the same issue, 50% no-show. Deeply disappointed. And obviously I blame it on ourselves because we were a bit naive. I guess you have way more experience, so you're not naive anymore, but you still have the same issue. So I would love to discuss that in more depth. I have some ideas, but that would probably be too much for today. And the other thing, when it comes to data management, or let's say kind of CRM, as you call it, I mean, how do we handle the entire process? I use the HubSpot, the free version. Obviously, I don't pay for this kind of service. It does the job. It's not perfect. I'm also happy to share, but again, maybe outside of this call, because that would go beyond the time. But I think that could be very interesting to actually get together more often and exchange these kind of ideas and potential improvements, because we all have the same issues, I just realized.
We have no show too at Hack for Social Good. We have some students who participate, and that has that positive side. We have, because we also have like financial prizes. We had a prize associated with like if you use the idea for your thesis, and a general prize. Both of those, I think, helped a little bit. We still lost maybe, I don't remember, maybe Oleg knows better. I think it was like 20% too much with the catering. It worked out okay because we had, the year that I was responsible for, we actually had extra kids showing up for the kids program. So we just moved food from the adult program to the kid program. But it was a problem, and we haven't fixed it yet. That's another thing that's while you're just doing general things. I'm in a big group that helps organize this thing, and I'm one of the only people who feels very strongly about having like a children's program. And I pushed it through that we're going to fund again this year, so that people like me, because I have a kid that can take part. And when we're recruiting refugees, that's going to be an issue because there's a lot of Ukrainian women. But anyways, I don't know. Do you guys do childcare at your events? Or not, I mean, not childcare. We offer a parallel tech program for the kids. They're learning about programming robots and about binary code bracelets and all sorts of good stuff.
Debra, the idea is amazing. I used to run a sports club, and there it was a similar thing, but there the kids were occupied, so we had to make sure the parents get something to do in the meantime. So vice versa. But anyhow, I mean, I love it, and it always gets to the same problem, right? So if we do our hackathons standalone, everyone does a little thing, 50 participants there, 30 there, maybe 100 once. we all run into the same issue. It's so hard to organize these kind of programs for one sort of small to maybe mid-size event. So I would love to hear how we could actually find synergies here, because these kind of programs take time to organize. They need to be professional. You need some money for this too, or at least book some money for this too. So I'm just wondering, how would you do that? Or how do you do it?
I can answer this for two different runs I've had. The first run we used PayHaben, which was very, very cheap, because they do it as part of a class assignment. We paid them an hourly rate for while they're there, and they have all the materials from the PayHa. For the last run, we looked for PayHa to do it, and they wouldn't do it. Through having a daughter who's school age, I signed my daughter up for like a science camp sometimes in the summer holiday. So I know a woman who finished her PhD in like biological science, and she has like an educational atelier for children. And she's been building up her business. She does a lot of like the summer ferien, and she has like a science club. And her husband's also a PhD at the university, and they just do the coolest experiments. My daughter like loves this camp, and my daughter's more of like a singing, acting kind of child than like a science child. And so we asked her to do our upcoming Hack for Social Good. I had to increase the budget to like 2.5 or something when I counted the hours of prep and everything. And then I'm going to fundraise that through internally. So the first time I got away with like 800 because it was partially funded by the PayHa, and then I've gone up to like 2.5. But I think she's interested in expanding, and I can say she's incredible. It was like incredible.
I mean, this topic reminds me that, I mean, Thomas, you mentioned it, right? We have Digital Switzerland and these high-profile hackathons in Switzerland. Currently, there's a massive advertisement campaign running for Her Hacks, the woman-led hackathon, where, again, like, you know, having diversity needs recognized, and also really rethinking what makes an event attractive for women or for other, you know, populations. Is the order of the day. And I really would like to see hackathons be a place where innovation, like social innovation, happens, where, of course, it's like a tradition that unconferences, bar camps, even scientific colloquiums in the past, we've had a lot of experimentation. It would be unfortunate if hackathons kind of go the other way and just become really rigid and, okay, this is exactly what a hackathon is, and it does not change over time. And versus, okay, this is kind of like the soft boundaries, and here are the essential elements. So, Joseph, I really like your commentary in the chat. I just want to point attention to that. You're writing that my events are different from yours. You can say it yourself. I mean, your microphone, I think, was working before. But I would love to get your point heard.
I'm just looking for chat. Where do you find chat here?
You have to click on the little people icon at the top left of the screen.
Huh.
And then it's like open. It's a link at the bottom, top. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of the events that I do are educational or workforce development. So like we have a bit of money to support people to show up because their employers are basically paying for this event to be put on for them. So, I mean, we come in and we provide support for the, some of them have tutorials because we're teaching them how to use, say, a library in Python or a couple of libraries, helping them put together machine learning workflows or something like that. And then they go off and they figure out how can they apply it to their own work, to their own domains, how to show something interesting out of it. So it's, in some ways, it's part training, and then they have another 3 days or so to go wild and create interesting things. And so, like, I guess our budgets run between like 50 to 100,000 US dollars. A lot of that is spent on, say, travel support to get people to show up from across the US because it's a big place, and hotels and everything. And then we also rent out, or we get support for like computers, compute power that they may not have at their home institutions or wherever they are. So we're generally oversubscribed. People are always trying to get in. but people do drop out at the last moment, but it's not on the level of like 50%. I know other people in the US that probably have events with similar attrition rates, 50, 75%, but they still end up with hundreds of people that show up at the end of it. I'm thinking of like Major League Hacking, which is a undergraduate colleague hacking event, and they have prizes for that. And all of these questions that you all have been asking are things that we've been trying to answer in Hack the Hackathon, which is now in the 4th year. I know it's a little bit late. Our schedule runs from 6 to 10 Central European time in a couple of weeks. But again, in a year, it'll be hosted in Europe because the organizing committees rotate between US and Europe. So none of us get too burnt out putting on 5 or 6 events in a year. So it'd be great to share and hear from more of you. We usually have breakout sessions, and this year we'll have like large chunks of time just for people to talk about things like, do you do catering versus giving people gift cards to Uber Eats or whatever it is? Like, what gets you better results for engagement or childcare? Or is it possible to give out stipends for remote participants, which we've done in the past to try to keep them engaged and not leaving?
I have a point. This is, I mean, it's nice. I'm a big fan of qualitative research, but one could also, if one had this pooled data set, one could do multi-level analysis. If one could just do event level, a few event level variables like that, and one could also get that kind of evidence on what works.
Yeah, and so yeah, we it's qualitative from Hack the Hackathon is comprised solely of hackathon organizers and researchers. So people are bringing together their data sets and surveys that they've done. People are bringing together their events. We're trying to make an open source version of DevPost. If you haven't heard of DevPost, it's a private company that aggregates and helps companies or other people put together hackathons. But because some of them are using DevPost for their own theses and research, they've taken to scraping it, and every time they get blocked, they have to adjust their scrapers to get new data out of it, and they're not happy about being scraped. So we're trying to develop, and it's commercial based. Like, it doesn't have the sort of events that I run or a lot of people that I know run in sort of the academic, scientific, educational spaces. So it has a nice subset, but it's also a very biased subset of all of the events that are going on. So to sort of broaden the scope, that would be very interesting to see and do. And so one of the things we're trying to do is to have everybody pull together their events beforehand so we can actually have a quantitative data set maybe to hack and compare on. And I'll leave the last 5 minutes for somebody else to talk, since it seems we have another.
No, I think Joseph, this is I love the fact that you're basically inviting us to participate not only in an international scientific conference. I'm just pulling up your webpage. I've shared that in the chat as well. So Hack the Hackathon 4 is coming up. I'm going to be taking part virtually, as much as I would love to join you and in your battered country. Although I hear San Diego is a real surfer's paradise, even at this time of year. Anyway, I'll be following virtually, and I'll definitely make sure that in our next HackOrgX meeting, some inputs and things are shared. In the meantime, already from the last year's event in Geneva, you can find links to my blog post, where I've tried to, as much as possible, share my learnings and link to all the various resources that this community is creating. I absolutely, thrilled to hear these efforts to open up DevPost is kind of, you know, it's created a massive awareness for hackathons. It's just like, you know, we wouldn't have IT without Microsoft as we know it, right? As much as we love to talk about open source and alternatives and so on, right? Anyway, I just want to remind everyone that we have this place, hackorgx.drip.cc, where we'll share Debra's presentation under HackIntegration. If you have any comments or feedback, please use the comment feature here. Just hit the blue button, or just write an email to me, and I'll make sure to feature it in the next newsletter. That's right, we have a newsletter. We're growing up to become a real proper little community here. You should all be subscribed, and please forward it to other people who might want to hear about hackathons being organized and so on. Here's Anna's question about participant management and no-shows. I think it's a really great question. How do you register your people for your event? What kind of platforms are available? So I would really, really love to see some suggestions here. If Christian, and welcome Christian, by the way. Sorry you had trouble joining, but for example, we'd love really to hear how you tackled the no-show problem. I know you've been working a lot on your platform. And two more things I'd just like to mention is that kind of linked to HackIntegration and Hack the Hackathon, Joseph and I are administrating a curated literature list, right? Joseph, do you want to say anything about this Zotero project?
Yeah, so Oleg started the Zotero account a while back, and one of the projects I'm going to be pushing, of course, anybody is welcome to work on a different project, but one of the projects I'm pushing will be to fill out this group library, and especially because we have people, I think we have something like 12 or 15 different disciplines right now that will be represented at Hack the Hackathon. I think last year we had 20 something disciplines, but especially for these one-off special issues that are in discipline specific journals about hackathons they've run in, say, I come from geosciences, so something like oceanography or atmospheric sciences or cryosciences or something. They may run these one-off special issues talking about hackathons, and then they never talk about it again. And because I sit at the intersection of a whole bunch of geoscience fields, I see these special issues come again and again and again, and everybody says they have the same problems, but none of them are ever talking to each other in different fields. And so this is sort of what the meta hackathon has been put together to do, to connect these people. And so we have an organizer that is one of the editors of a life sciences hackathon journal, but they will accept hackathon articles from anywhere. And so one of the things I'm hoping to spend a couple of hours is to do a literature survey, and just load everything that I can find in there. I feel a little bad that Oleg has been doing all of the uploading so far, but I do have a staff.
Wait, just to clarify, it's not just me. So it's Debra and also Marek Pizia from University of Zurich. The three of us have actually over the summer started this literature search, and a lot of the content is coming from Debra, which absolutely deserves recognition.
All right, I was about to say we have a list too. We should combine, but I guess you've already done that.
It's the public version of your list with just a lot of the closed access articles removed, because I'm not Aaron Schwartz.
Yeah.
And also Zotero just doesn't let me do that, even if I wanted to. I can't actually attach PDFs on this public group for some reason. Anyway, thank you very much, Joseph. We are out of time. I do want to just mention one absolutely last thing. This is kind of just for fun, but I have set up a very special YouTube playlist, which currently has 34 videos, kind of like the literature review. It's an assortment of various interesting videos, like highlights from the Sport Hack Days that you just heard Thomas talking about, but also like videos from the major Hacking League, videos from Hack the Hackathon from past years where some recordings were made available, Please contribute. So the link here, if you click on source, it's actually like if you have a YouTube account, you can suggest videos. We can make it a collaborative playlist. And yeah, at this point, I would just say thank you very, very much for coming to this hackathon organizers meeting. Christian, you have joined late. I would like to suggest that anyone who cannot stay, who needs to feed kids or whatever, please feel absolutely unashamed to click disconnect. For those who can stay for a few minutes, Christian, if you would like to give us a quick demo of Basel Hack technology, you can absolutely do this right now, and maybe just say a few words about yourself. Christian says his microphone is broken. Damn. Okay, so can we maybe do a demo next time? Yeah, okay. We got thumbs up from Thomas and Christian, big smiles all around. It's very loud in here. I'm in a cafe in the middle of Bern, where there's actually going to be a net political evening. Maybe Jörg, Debra, I think you might swing by for a drink later. I'm sorry that we're not having a physical get-together yet, but I would also like to pass the ball, and if anyone Swiss-based of us would like to host the next event, you're absolutely welcome to do so. Anna says she has to drop out. Let's keep in touch about it was nice to meet you all, and thanks again for the great inputs, Debra, which I absolutely want to second. It was really great to see this project being launched for next month. And Los Hack is, I think, the very next hackathon on my calendar. That's happening, is it this weekend or next weekend? Anyone keeping touch of our friends dans la Romandie? Nos amis romands? Los Hack is like the Hack Zurich. It's a large student-run event at the University of Lausanne EPFL. And it is coming up very shortly. November 30th. Sorry, at the end of the month. Okay, I think the registrations were closing this weekend, and actually they are really keen to host us. Just so you know, that we already have had some discussions to have this meeting in Lausanne. Also, our friends at Open Geneva, Thomas Mayat, who was actually the organizer of Hack the Hackathon last year, together with Joseph and team, is also very keen to share his progress. They're doing hackathons all over the world, doing also lots of research which parallels ours. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out a date that works. We've been fighting influenza and COVID and all kinds of stuff this year. Again, I don't know what's going on, but in the meantime, virtual is the way we play the game.
I have a question. On Drip Down, I could upload my presentation to the presentation for the Hack Integration Challenge. Where should I don't see where to put my questionnaire, or should I just email it to Anna?
You can, you could just put it, just paste the text into the pitch, convert it to PDF, or send it to Anna. I'm sure she'll be very happy to help.
Okay.
We are the data people. All right, Jörg is chiming out.
Have a lovely evening, everybody.
You guys have been great. Great. Thanks very much for hanging out. There are no more last questions. I will go and get myself alcohol.
Thanks for summoning us, Oleg.
Always a pleasure, Roland. And apologies for not being there to support you last weekend. I do feel very bad about that. But I was really happy to be on the sidelines and support you. Seeing you here today was great.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, we'll catch you, Christian and Roland. The three of us will
now I
get
got
here.
it working. Nice.
Ah, your microphone's working.
My life. In the last second.
Unbelievable. So, beer in Basel. An open data beer, open hackathon beer, something like that in the next while, huh?
Yes. Machen wir einen Termin. Können wir mal Bier trinken, Markthallen oder so.
Super.
Excellent idea. Yeah. When are you in Basel, Oleg? By chance, any plans to be there?
I was just thinking. I just had a feeling that. Sorry, no, I was just confused for a second. I don't know. My calendar's right now pretty much dedicated to the to this InnoSpace project. I'll be in Zurich next week to work with the university colleagues on that. HackIon is actually the next event in my calendar, and that is in Zurich the following weekend.
Quick question, Roland. Do you join the Symphony meet up in Zurich next Mittwoch?
No, the next few weeks are rather packed for me.
In the evenings.
Maybe...
Okay. Because then I would be in Zurich next Wednesday. But we can postpone it a bit further again.
Yeah, next week would actually not be so bad for like Friday. Then the week after, it's the Hackathon virtual event, plus it's DINACon, where I'm running the Hack Night and the workshop and helping with the whole event. So probably either next Friday or something like Wednesday the 27th. Friday the 29th, maybe a bit less, but also possible.
Yeah, on the evening of 27th, Zurich.
I was planning to go for the 27th. There is the Open Research Data Prize, this year's award. It's like the Nobel of Open Data. I'm a little bit keen to join that, even though I think.
Sure.
Can we watch this remotely? That we watch together?
I don't know. I mean, the beers will be on location at the Eventfabrik Bern. If you guys want to come, you should maybe come. I think it's free. You just need to register. Starts at 5. There'll be a keynote from a professor from the Netherlands and stuff.
Evening of 27th.
Yeah. I mean, it would be very much along the hackathon tradition to go where the beer is free rather than watch other people drink beer on TV.
Yeah, 27th of November is fine for me. And for my part, we can come to Bern if you want. Depends on Roland now.
Yeah, I'm just putting a placeholder in my calendar, and I think it's will work.
I think we also can provisorisch fix that appointment, and then we will chat, right? But for me, that looks good.
Yeah, I would really love to help the kind of Basel scene, and also to talk to Elijah again and talk to the possibility of continuing these HackOrgX things in some way, like having a regular Stammtisch. I was in Biel today, and I talked to some people there who also really love the format. Maybe we can almost kind of meet in the middle in Biel or in Olten. And at least hearing what Thomas said about there's really like kind of an interest and a need and so many questions and just this desire for openness rather than competitiveness between the hackathon teams. There's just I think there's like a really strong opportunity. We make Zurich and Hack Zurich actually struggling, that creates kind of a recognition that it's not so easy, and maybe it would be good to have a bit of support venue, right? And I mean, HackOrgX, the idea started. I think we should maybe talk to. I recently heard a presentation from Christoph Median Stiftung, where they were quite keen to support, I think, communities of our type. Maybe we could do an application for them to like kind of also maybe even journalistically, like to do like a little book project or something like that. I don't know. That was another idea, a spontaneous idea I had. Well, semi-spontaneous was like the hackathon guidelines that Open Data CH publishes. The people keep referring to them, right? But it's kind of like just a couple of us scratching them together. Having like a collaborative book effort to write a handbook of Swiss hackathons could be also a kind of like a way to bring our community around a central project.
Yeah, CMS and other organizations like this, that sounds really interesting to approach. We haven't tried it, but we've talked about it several times. And with joint forces, it's even better. Really a good idea.
Let's join for. By the way, I mentioned this before you joined. I still haven't published your video, Roland. So, I'm still recording, by the way.
Yeah.
Probably end the recording. Goodbye, internet.